shorter ones, or if I feel like I need to make longer ones, I can come in between and make some longer ones. That way they're different lengths. I'll do the same thing over here. Wet the eyelash line with my burr number and then pull up and out. Even if your person has black hair, please don't use any color heavier than burr number for the eyelashes. It makes the eyes look really hard. Just like that. The lower lid, you can put lashes on it. Just be really careful that you don't do too many and keep them to the outside edge. You want them real soft. If you get too much dark going on the lower lid, it'll make her look hard. So again, you want to be really careful about that. I'm going to use my dark skin color plus a little bit of burr number for her eyebrow. And the eyebrows tend to be darker in some places than in others, so I'm going to put this color on first. And keep my edges. You want to keep the edges of the brows very fuzzy, very soft and fuzzy. Again, don't use anything darker than burr number on the brow. Payne's Gray, even if your person has black hair, it would be too heavy. Make sure you keep those brows soft at the edges. That's what makes them look fuzzy and not like they're drawn on. Okay, let's go ahead and work on her mouth a little bit. For the teeth, you're going to use the same color as you use for the white of the eye. It's going to be dirty white. It's white with burr number and Payne's Gray. So a dirty white for the teeth. Even if your person has beautiful, perfect, pearly whites, you'll want to use a dirtier white for the teeth. As they go back further into the mouth, they go into the shadow, so they get a little darker. And I'm just putting this color over the teeth lightly, kind of tinting the canvas. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to put the gums on and the lips on. The lips are, she's of course wearing lipstick, so hers are going to be a little brighter than normal. And she's got the kind of a red lipstick on, so we're going to go ahead and give her nice bright lips. And I'm just using the Pretty Color to do this. If you want it to be a little redder, add a little more of your Rose Madder. And if you want to lean a little more into the orange tones, add a little more of the Cad Orange to this. And the same thing goes for down here. The gums, what you want to do is you want to use your Pretty Color, but you're going to soften it with a little bit of your white. It's not quite so bright. Try to keep my hand out of your way so you can see what I'm doing. Working that in. I don't want to get too much paint. Okay, now I'm going to put the gums in, and I'm going to use Pretty Color plus white. It's just a softened Pretty Color. Makes a nice pink. And the way you show the individual spaces between the teeth are with the gums. They come down to little points, and you automatically get a break between the teeth. I'm going to go a little darker on the gums as I go further back into the mouth because it's more shadowed back here. And that's a little bit bright. And get a little bit of my deep flesh Rose Madder Cad Orange with some raw sienna. Darken it up a pinch. Okay, now what we want to do, she does have teeth showing down here underneath these teeth, but they're going to be darker because they're further back in the mouth. They're behind the teeth that are here in the front. So you want to make sure that you have a little more of your dirty color, make it a little dirtier for the teeth back in here. Like that. Now we're going to highlight the teeth with pure white. But you're only going to put the pure white wherever there's a gleam or a shine on the tooth. So we're going to come in here shine here. Comes right down like that. The front teeth are brighter than the teeth as they go back into the mouth. This tooth has some shine on it. This tooth has some shine on it. And you don't really put a line between the teeth. The way that the teeth are individualized is there's that little bit of that dirty white showing, and then you butt the highlight up against it. And then as the teeth go back further in the mouth, you don't have quite as much shine. There is a little bit, but it's not quite as much, so downplay the shine as it goes further back. And this side is much darker, so there's not nearly as much shine on these teeth. She does have some shine on these lower teeth. We can indicate that. And then I'm going to take a little more of the dirty white, Payne's Gray, Burnt Umber, and white. I want to give a little more of an indicator here underneath the front teeth. I want to give them a little shadow here to define where the front teeth leave off. And you scallop these teeth. That's how you create that look. Downplay that shine a little bit there. And then the gums also get shine on them. And you just use your white everywhere where they're shiny. You give them a little fleck of white. Not quite that bright over here. Again, this is the shady side. We need to shine up the lips, and we do that with white also. You shine right across the center here of the lower lip. And I'm going to redefine the shape of the upper lips. I got a little pretty color on my brush right in here. Now, as a rule, the corners of the mouth always have a very, very nice dark in them, right in here. Especially if they've got a real open smile like this. There's almost always a nice dark in the corner. So look at your original, I think you'll see it's there. And I'm just going to let that shadow just kind of fade out. Make sure all the nostrils are dark enough. Okay. She does need a little bit of shadow, I'm noticing now, right in here. So that's how you're going to do Caucasian skin. And what you want to do is, if you get this all finished and you start looking at it again later on, you can come back and you can add more highlight, you can add more dark, you can glaze if there are places where you feel like you need more color and things like that. But you're basically just using that basic skin color over all the skin lightly. You're reinforcing the darks with your dark skin color, bringing up the highlights with your light skin color, and then making sure you have those pretty colors in there. So good luck painting your Caucasian skin. Okay, let's talk a little bit about a darker skin tone. This is not the kind of skin tone where you're doing somebody who's black or a very dark skinned person. I'm talking about somebody who is of an East Indian descent, or somebody with just a nice warm golden skin color, just something a little darker, maybe a Mexican person. We want to create a skin tone that's got a little bit of more color to it. What we want to do is eliminate, at that first step, the basic skin color, let's eliminate some of the white. So what I want to do is take our deep flesh, which is rose madder, cad orange, raw sienna, and just a touch of white, hardly any at all. And we want to put that over all the skin lightly to tint the canvas. What this is going to do is give us kind of a golden tone. You don't want this color too pink. And this is going to go over all the skin lightly to tint our canvas, just like before. The only thing that's different with this whole skin that from the Caucasian person is that we have used just a hint of white in this color, just a touch. You'd be better off to use none than to get too much, okay? So now we've already got our warm kind of a golden color. So take that and you're going to want to reinforce your dark skin tones just like you always do. So use your Rose Madder, Cad Orange, Raw Sienna, and Dioxazine Purple and come into these areas where it's skin and it has a shadow. Reinforce the shadow. If it's too purple, you can add a little bit of umber to it. This needs to stay nice and dark over here. Now if you've done your burnt umbering correctly right from the get-go, you're not going to have that much work to do here. You can see how that burnt umber really guides you and helps you. Now I'm going to work in these smaller areas, so I'm going to get a smaller brush. Use a brush that is the right size for the area that you're working in. He has a lot of shadow here under his nose. Over to the side, under his lip. And even on the bottom part of his upper lip, that presses that in. And there's some heavy light shining on his eyes, and he's got lots of shadow right here above the eyes. Just tuck that part of the eye in a little bit. And right here. Okay, so we've got our basic skin color on, goes over all the skin lightly. Now we put our shadow color on. I'm gonna wash that brush out, the small brush. And we're gonna put our highlights on, and our highlights are white and Naples yellow with a little more of the yellow than the white. Because you don't want it real bright, you wanna keep it in the golden tones. There's our highlight there. Here. You can look in your notebook and you can see the original that I'm working from and see where we're headed. He's got some there. He's got some highlights right up here on the brow. The fabrics on these paintings we'll be doing a little bit later. It's hard to know where on the video to put the different things, but I wanted to kind of keep similar items together as much as possible, so the fabrics will come at a little different time. Okay, he's got quite a bit of highlight here and quite a bit of highlight right here. Again, make sure with your highlight, your white and your Naples yellow, that you'll lean a little more into the Naples yellow than the white. He has some highlight down here on his chin. I kind of move around the face, just putting these where I see them. If I miss one at some point, I can always come back to it. Okay, I'm going to leave that for now, and I'm going to pick up my pretty color. My pretty color again is Rose Madder and Cad Orange. I'm not going to add any white to it at this point. I'm going to come right here where this dark meets the face. See how that melts those colors together? The pretty color kind of melts the dark and the light together. Right in here. Over here where the dark and the light come together. This puts the blood under the skin, and you need these nice warm colors to do that. You don't need a lot of paint in order to get a lot of color. Bear that in mind. It's real important. The less paint you use, the more in control you stay. Okay, and then for the lips, we're gonna use a pretty color, but we're not gonna go real strong. We're not gonna use a lot of paint. On the girl that we did prior to him, she had lipstick on, and so we didn't go very sparingly with the paint. We put quite a bit on because we really wanted those lips to be red. But on him we don't. We want a soft, warm, pretty color that puts the blood under the skin without making him look too much like a woman. So put that on there. And then we'll highlight and darken, and that'll make all the difference in the world. The corners of the lips, use your burnt umber, or even your dark skin tone, depending on how dark it is. It's real dark right in here. That really tucks that part of the mouth back. Same with here. And then I'm going to get my dark skin color. I'm going to pick that up on that dirty brush. I have a little umber in it. And I'm going to reinforce the line between the lips. Burnt umber for the nostrils. Go ahead and put those on, and they kind of lay flat, but his show a little bit more than some. And then dark skin color for the details around the nose. You notice all the colors are the same. It's just that first one that's a little bit different, that basic skin tone. It's a little different. We need to highlight that lower lip. Just going to use a little bit of our white. We're going to put that on there, and it's going to melt in with this pretty color. I'm just kind of tapping my brush along there to soften it. He also has a light above the lip, and this frequently does happen. There will be a light right here on the face, right above the lip, especially when the lips stick out at all. A lot of people have this, so look at your original. If yours doesn't have it, you don't want to do it. But if there is a